Bringing you a unique experiment actually on behalf of Persuade. And what this game is the supply limit has been raised to 300 food and upkeep has been removed. So essentially there's no reason to hoard and there's a lot of reason to make huge armies that are going to be incredibly fun to watch, and possibly heroes will play less of a role than they normally do, or maybe we'll see different heroes that have more of a role in the fights. However, we have 6 players on the map called Polska, and it's going to be a very interesting game to say the least. That should explain it. I mean, it's a pretty simple concept, and I think that we're going to see a lot of fun action.
I think that I need to actually stop playing WoW right now.
Are you playing WoW as we're speaking?
Well, when the other cat stopped, I was like, okay, cool, I'll go check my auctions in WoW, and I didn't know that there was another thing going on. So I'm exiting WoW right now, so I can actually devote my attention to Warcraft.
Well, I mean, it is a type of Warcraft, but just the wrong one.
I was so close. Oh. All right, so this is a very busy mini-map. Very busy.
It is. It's a great free-for-all map. There's not a lot of gold going on, so there's not going to be much hoarding. And especially in a game type like this, there's not going to be a lot of hoarding. And I'm really excited to see what type of 300 food armies we can get out here. Persuade originally wanted to do 1,000. However, Blizzard makes it so you can only do 300. I mean, I'm saying only. However, 300 is obviously a rather large army and can be pretty hard to keep control of. And I don't know, it's gonna make, so let's just go around the map and do a quick overview of who's getting what, because I think we may see some innovation, at least I hope we will. So at the bottom right we've got 4 ER Whack, which is just gonna be called Whack in this game, or 4 ER depending on what I'm feeling. He's going Archmage. So obviously something like Blizzard and whatchamacallit, his aura is going to be incredibly important. However, mass teleportation not going to be that important in this game. We've got Pinballmap going for the Blade Master, which I think is actually going to be pretty much irrelevant later on in this game. Early on, if he rushes somebody out, I think it's going to be important, but late game, one massive crit on a unit not going to do much in a 300 food army. We've got Calypso going for the Blade Master as well. For those of you that don't know, Ludix is Calypso, so I'll probably go forth and call him both of them. He goes ahead and sells off his TP there. We've got the Demon Hunter for G, or J33. However, he actually likes to be called J33. Which, another interesting choice. I mean, how much is it going to matter if you can do mana burn to a hero when you've got 300 food to back it up? Typical opening Death Knight for both of our undeads, I believe, which you probably can't do without those. So far, not a whole lot of innovation, unfortunately. I would have liked to see a Priest of the Moon opening first, honestly. I mean, can you imagine that aura with a 300 food army of Chims?
That would be ridiculous. But I think when you're talking about a 300 food army, I would actually say that I don't think any kind of Chimera-based army is a good idea.
Maybe, but you don't think 300 food Chippos can be good?
I don't think so, actually. Because I don't think... So basically, Chippos works pretty reasonably, and I think the reason that it works pretty reasonably normally... and we talk about, how it's not supposed to be... it's not super effective at 80, but it's pretty good at 100. But there's a reason for that, and that's because it's really a balance between the number of chimeras you have and the number of hippogriffs. When you're talking about 300 units on the map, just any 300 food army, you can completely hard counter a chimera-based army, even if there's a bunch of hippogriffs in it. Just imagine, that is almost 600 gargoyles. That is, I mean, how many chimeras can you put in? I mean, gargoyles are good against both of those units. Gargoyles would just be... There's 2 undeads on the map, is all I'm thinking. There's only 1 human, and since there's only 1 human, the human is the guy who I would really favor to win with just a big flying machine army.
Yeah, flying machines are definitely what's going to be strong here. I mean, I think a flying machine tank army is going to be ridiculous. Human army in general, I think, is pretty well geared for this. Mass gargoyles, I mean, they take quite a bit of micro in general to take down air because they want to automatically focus ground sometimes. I can't imagine how you're going to pull that off with 300. And honestly, I'm not sure how much we're actually going to see in 300. Because there is no upkeep in this match, then it's going to be very easy to go ahead and just get over that mark. I mean, you're going to go for 75 food, which you ordinarily wouldn't do, or 110 food, and there's not going to be any penalty for that. So I feel like to get that 300 food, you need to bank up a little bit, and I don't think there are going to be a whole lot of people hoarding.
I don't think there's going to be any banking. I think that, you know, people are just going to keep making units, and as they tech up, get the higher up units. But again, I think that for someone like an Undead who can, you know, get one of the best in-game units in my opinion, and with this type of situation, which is the Gargoyle at tier 2, and actually be able to just start mass producing them pretty easily off 2 gold mines. I think, especially because again, there's no upkeep, like you said. I think a Gargoyle army would absolutely just wreck anybody who was focusing on a late game army, because it's going to give them a lot of mid game control. But there's that whole FFA element of, you know, can you actually take a dominant position, especially in this type of game where you're certainly not going to be able to really finish anybody off early on? Should you even go for a dominant position? What is the optimal strategy here? I'm not sure.
I think, I mean, it's the first time this game mode has been played, so I'm not sure that anybody really knows. I think that'll be part of the interesting thing here is to discover that. What I do think is somebody like Pinballmap, who is currently surrounded, needs to break out. You need to be able to get at least a couple extra gold mines here, and it just comes down to whoever is going to be able to be left alone the longest, probably. I mean, if you're fighting 100v100,
yeah, if someone gets to 300 food, I think they're in such a ridiculous position. But that's a very dominant position. But again, this whole idea that there's no upkeep and there's 300 food, you should be taking as many expansions as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely, you know, I think Red's got the best position right here, because above him he's got all these gold mines and he's a human. He can easily just creep those out and take those gold mines really easy. And again, you know, unless Pinballmap is really focusing on Red, I think Red is going to be in a really good spot, because I don't think Blue's going to want to go all the way down and face off with a human. Although then again, I think Undeads would probably want to take the human out early, because I think that the human's going to have a pretty good advantage going into the late game against the Undeads if it gets there.
As I said, I think everybody's going to want to take out the human player in this game.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely.
So TGW going pretty much pure ghoul at this point to try and creep up here. I think that the players are realizing that they need to take these expansions as early as possible. I mean, really, there's no reason not to. I think the only thing you have to be worried about, though, is the manip you can get early on when somebody has more gold mines than you is pretty incredible to start with, just because of the fact that people are worried about somebody hoarding at 50, and that's like the big thing. If somebody grabs more mines than everybody else early on in this game, then the potential to get them teamed is even greater than it would be in a normal free-for-all game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because that's just it's a huge advantage. But is it going to actually stabilize to a point, especially in this sort of position where you have so many players who just don't have access to that many gold mines compared to blue and red, and really even orange, or yellow. I think yellow, if yellow goes down, I mean, I don't know. It's hard to see Ludix on the map here with that dark green color.
Yeah, it is.
Oh man, I honestly can't even see his units. I don't know. Is there? I don't know if there's anything I can do about that actually, but that is hard.
Yeah, no. There's not. You could put the mini-map to dark if you wanted.
I could do that. Yeah, I actually, I think I will. That'll help.
I don't know. That looks weird to me. I'm changing mine back out.
It does look weird, but it's actually very useful.
It is very useful.
I just can't see them.
So let's go around here. So, GreatWall, TGW is also TheGreatWall, is off to a pretty nice start here. He's got his second expansion going up as we're speaking. Presumably we'll get that third expansion soon, and he is only going with ghouls at the moment, which you can see actually hurting his lumber a little bit. But he's on his way to Black Citadel as we speak. 4ER is going for the heavy tower approach, looks like, and his Archmage is going to hit level 5 momentarily. However, he does not have a second hero out yet, and he is only a little bit of the way into his tech for Castle. Just looking around, he does not even have a second hero started, doesn't look like. But nice approach here to go ahead and try to wall off yourself 2 expos that you can get. By just getting the choke point here, it's going to make it very difficult for anybody to come down on him, although I think GreatWall will be satisfied with having his expos up there as well. And Sinai.
Pinballmap.
Yep, sorry, I'm getting whisper at the moment. Pinballmap is going to be... Okay, go for it.
Pinballmap is chilling out down here in the south. He's kind of looking for creeping. He's got a couple of Wind Rider, or at least one Wind Rider out with the Blade Master as well as the Shadow Hunter, and he's kind of getting ready to fight Ludix. Maybe, or at least they're walking right by each other. However, Ludix clearly has the better army with the Coda Beast and a couple of, at least 3 Wind Riders in that army, and the level 3 Blade Master and level 2 Tauren Chieftain. And here we can see Pinballmap just kind of scouting down and saying, I don't know if this is the first time he's finding out, but he's definitely very much surrounded between Ludix and Mr. Red here, which is for whack, for ER whack, for whack, and and yeah. you know, there's J33 making up some expansions. He's doing a pretty good job, actually. And as long as Ludix doesn't come in here and kill this expansion, which I don't know, is it a good idea to be using early aggression at this point in the game? I feel like it might be. But,
I think it is. I mean,
creeping is first priority. There's so many creeps. There's so much experience you can get on the map just from creeping. So, is it worth to get that first? It depends. Maybe it depends on your spawn position and how enclosed you are.
I was going to say, I think going straight from creeping into actually attacking people, especially for a micro monster like Calypso, is going to be a very good move. I think that we're going to find, really, you want to take somebody out around 150 food, as opposed to getting into that 300 food, because 300 food just seems completely unwieldy and very hard to manage. And I think that somebody who is so good at microing in general is going to find that not having to worry about upkeep is kind of a dream come true for them. I mean, what are a lot of solo players' biggest problem? It would be dealing with having the macro element of the game and dealing with the macro on a free-for-all level as opposed to on a solo level. That Priestess of the Moon is going to go down there, but however, J33 is going to be able to take out 2 Wyverns there. Maybe we'll get a third, and he may get the better trade out of this, although it looks like the Shadow Fury Demon Hunter is going to have to TP out here, and that may be the end of that Archer and this one as well.
Yeah.
So Ludix is going to go ahead and hit the expansion that J33 has up in it. We may be seeing our first pairing for fights early on in the game, which could set the tone for the later ones. So we may be seeing Calypso and J33 fighting. Wuffle and GreatWall, I gotta believe both of them are going to be content to just go ahead and mass units and build up their armies as we speak, because they are both in very good shape. And then we may see Pinballmap try and break out on 4ER. However, really, Pinballmap does not have a good person to break out on in general. I mean, he's gotten shafted here the hardest by any player, I think.
Yeah, it's not a great spawn for him, but there is a bit of a fight going on. It's like a 3-way fight going on right here in the middle of the map.
Very confusing one, to say the least. GreatWall has that Death Knight looking pretty low, but he does have the Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Panda second for 4ER. I think that's a great move on his part. I think we're going to see a lot of very impressive damage coming out of the combination Brilliance, Aura, Panda here. And I expect we'll see 4ER change that Archmage over into Blizzard before too long as well. Out comes the Paladin, going to be able to save it. So good choice for the third here. Probably just barely saves that Archmage and gets it away. So that's probably a good move on his part. Looks like we got a little bit of action going on with Calypso there, but nothing much. Okay, so let's actually go around the heroes and talk about the hero combinations, because I think that's going to be the most important factor in this game, is who can come up with the best combination of heroes for a 300 food army as opposed to the normal 100 food army. So Wuffle currently has a pretty standard combo with the Death Knight, Lich, and Dreadlord. What do you think of it?
It's a pretty good. It's a very strong combo, especially as it gets really well in the late game. It's one of those combos that is really strong against big armies. You know, it's got a lot of AoE potential there. It's got a lot of move speed. So I think it's a really good choice in this case. I don't know if I agree with the Fiends, but the hero choice I think is very versatile and a great idea for this.
I was going to say, it looks like he'll be trying to take down this camp as well, so we'll move on to GreatWall after that. Nope, he's just going to pass away here. So, alright, we've got GreatWall with the Death Knight Lich, and then he picks up the Dreadlord as third hero, as opposed to going for a Dreadlord. So what do you think about the trade-off there, Dark Ranger for Dreadlord?
I was actually, my analysis, I had that backwards. That's what I just said applied, though. Yeah, you know, but very much a lot of AoE. I think this is the better composition than the Dark Ranger is having the Dreadlord, because it does give you extra AoE. And again, if just to go ahead and actually give a proper, I guess, analysis of the Dark, you know, the Death Knight, the Lich, and the Dark Ranger, I think that is Silence and Charm. Obviously, is really important and really viable. But I think when we're going to see these huge fights, I don't think we're going to see a lot of people who ideally are going to want to just commit with a one-on-one fight with the Undead. I think the Undead's going to want to do a lot of running away.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Undead's going to really benefit from having Carrion Swarm, Sleep, and Nova. I think he's going to benefit more that than the Silence and the Charm. Of course, Charm is very powerful, but
it gets progressively less powerful as we continue in this game. I agree with you. I think the Dreadlord's a little bit better choice for the Undead player here. GreatWall is managing to take down this creep camp pretty nicely, it looks like. Does go ahead and use his Red Drake to distract a lot of the units as we speak, and he may actually not be able to finish it off, unfortunately. So looks like he is going to back away here, and we may see Wuffle come in here and take it down. all players so far doing a nice job of just building up their armies. Nobody's really trying to hoard, because that would be oxymoronic here. And we got a first fight between GreatWall and Wuffle takes down that Death Knight. There's going to be a TP out here for GreatWall, so really not the way that GreatWall wanted it to go, I'm guessing. And that will allow the main creep here to go to Wuffle, and that's going to be a big item, I'm guessing. Should see pretty close to level 5 on the Death Knight and a lot of power with everything else. Nothing particularly interesting in the market at the moment, and let's just see what this Red Dragon does drop for Wuffle.
And I'm really liking the unit combination that Wuffle has. I just feel like with that unit combination, a Dark Range would actually be better, because I feel like that's like a fighting army. And if you're having a fighting army, then Silence is much more powerful, in my opinion. But Dreadlord's still a completely fine choice. And of course, a great item there. Crown of Kings, absolutely wonderful item. Just amazing, actually.
When he grabbed a Potion of Restoration, actually, was the normal drop. So he may have gotten the Crown of Kings out of the market, actually.
No, well, no, the Potion of Restoration, he had that when he
before did he? Killed the dragon. So, my bad. Alright, so let's move on to 4ER here. His composition of the Archmage, Paladin, and Panda. What do you think about that?
Archmage, Paladin, and Panda. It's good. I think I'm not. It's a standard combination, isn't it? In FFA.
Not so much. Usually you see the Panda followed by Mountain King and Paladin, or you see an Archmage, Mountain King, Paladin. Taking the Mountain King out generally in a normal FFA is kind of a no-no, because you don't have a stun then, and Human has a very, very powerful army when you can get that stun in, especially because their heroes just don't die ever.
That's a good point. I guess Red is really looking for the AoE potential here, and with up to 300 food armies, the AoE potential is pretty big. Of course, they are limited by damage, so I'm not sure if it's a good idea. I'm not sure if it's a good idea or a bad idea to forego the Mountain King.
We do have a fight, actually. Let's go back up here to Wuffle and GreatWall. It looks like Wuffle now having his GreatWall's Necromancers are doing a lot of damage to Wuffle, and down goes that sniped Lich there. So Wuffle is going to lose this one. He was trying to take the fight to GreatWall, so it's not going to hurt him quite as bad. But we do have Wuffle is up to 113, and he is outfooding GreatWall by 30 food at the moment. However, he does have a hero that is dead, so he'll have to wait for that to revive. But yeah, going back to 4ER, I think I like his combination quite a bit. I think the Mountain King is going to become less powerful in a 300 food army than it would be in 100, because if you kill a hero off, I mean, it's still not going to be, it's going to be bad, but it's not going to be the end of the world.
Well, Mountain King is still good against units too, so.
It is, and Clap might play a much bigger role than it would ordinarily. However, I think that trading it out for the combination that you have with Blizzard and Breath of Fire is going to be very, very deadly. I don't think Human really needs any help in this format, but I think that they're going to be in pretty good shape there. Let's go down to PBM, or Pinballmap, who has gone for the pretty typical combination here. He is really lacking the hero levels. Did not get off to the start that he hoped, I'm sure, and probably looking to break out soon. But he does have that Blade Master, Shadow Hunter, and Tauren Chieftain combination. I think that this is a solid combination, but I think you could do without the Blade Master, for being honest. I would have liked to see an Alchemist, Tauren Chieftain, Shadow Hunter combination. I think the Tauren Chieftain, Shadow Hunter are both incredibly strong, but the Blade Master is going to be the weak link there.
I would have liked to see a Farce here. I think Chain Lightning would be really good in this. And with the combination that one of the things, I don't know if you ever, I guess this is a solo strategy. I don't know how well it's played in FFA, but basically the Mass Headhunters, the Mass Casters, and the FSTC, and then the SH is really, really powerful. And because of the number of Headhunters you can get, and in this you can have so many Headhunters. I don't know, but we do have a fight going on up here at the top right.
We've got two individuals that are hitting each other, and there we go. We do have that TP in here, and we have that Death Knight going to be pinned down there. It does have a Potion of Lesser Invulnerability. Wuffle doing a nice job of keeping out of range here, not fighting the Skeleton Warriors, and instead using his Gargoyles to just leech those out. So probably not the way that GreatWall wanted this to go. I mean, he did have the Necromancers out for hitting red instead, and Wuffle has managed to Banshee Protect with his Fiend with AMS at the moment, so hard to say he's really winning with this much gold, but I'd give it to Wuffle at the moment. He does have 150 food, hard to tell how much of that is actually in the fight versus at the expansions, and is forced to back that Death Knight up a little bit there. Dreadlord looking pretty strong there, and down goes, Lich is actually saved very nicely there by GreatWall. It goes down momentarily when Wuffle gets just a second later, so I think it's safe to say that Wuffle is turning this fight about. There is no TP at the moment for, there we go, we do have the TP on the Lich, but that's not going to save most of it here. Just going to get those heroes away, and GreatWall going to lose a lot of units now to Wuffle. Wuffle in very good position to make a push on GreatWall, I think.
And I have to say, I think it's a really smart move that Wuffle's making here, going for the undead, because he's got this army composition that really would get overrun if the Great Wall was able to get like mass gargoyle and necromancers. So I think it's a really good idea. It's, take out the guy who is right beside you, who is making a strategy that would actually be fairly good against yours. I guess if you have enough fiends, then it's not quite as good. I don't actually, I don't even know. I don't even know anymore. This is weird. There's so many fiends. Everything I know just is gone.
All I can say is there's a lot of DPS there from those fiends. And actually, we are getting some people saying that it's a little hard to hear you. So could you go ahead and turn your mic up a little bit?
I can do that.
Great. I will go ahead and yes, louder, good. Let me know when it's done, and I'll go ahead and just give a little bit of commentary here. We do have GreatWall is trying to make Wuffle TP back here. Solid move on his part. However, Wuffle is going to take out everything before he does that, so unfortunately it will all be in vain. We do have TPs on just the Death Knight at the moment, so we are going to see that Lich get slaughtered there, and Wuffle doing a nice job of just continuing to gain experience there. He's got very good gold management at the moment. He is at 5k as opposed to the 1k GreatWall is at. And we've got Ludix in here coming in to try and take out J33. We got a 120 versus 60. So Calypso in very good shape to dominate this fight should it happen. We'll also have 4 ERs taking on Pinballmap at the moment. This fight looks like it's going to be even more crazy. We got 150 versus 120. Priest of the Moon does go down for J33. I think this is safe to say that the fight is going to go in Ludix's favor. So we're going to go back down here to 4 ER and Pinballmap, where it's really just incredibly hard to see what exactly is going on at the moment. It does look like Pinballmap is being forced back. We are seeing the impressive power that a human army can display. I like the use of the Bloodlusted Mortar team back here. Spellbreaker's really going ahead and doing a fantastic job of turning this about, and really there's not going to be any buffs left over for Pinballmap due to the fact that he has so many units he can change over and put the Bloodlust on. Ordinarily, both sides just get buffed up there on that. However, in this case, it was really just 4 ER, so Pinballmap is going to be out of the game momentarily. We're going to have J33 out of the game, and it'll be a question of do they play a 4-white or does Wuffle take GreatWall out of here?
Here's something. I feel like these people are dying with like 2,000-3,000 gold. That's insane to me because there's no upkeep. Just keep making units. There's no incentive to not keep making units right now.
Yep, I completely agree. I think that's fighting the natural free-for-all urge to just save it because of that. However, you're right. There's no reason not to just go ahead and pump out units at all times. I mean, you should be pumping from all production units the moment that you get them. The moment the gold comes in, it should be spent pretty much. And we do have a fight between GreatWall and Wuffle coming up. This could be very good for GreatWall, actually, although it doesn't look like he has quite enough gargoyles out here. But he's got the right army for hard countering it, but not going to be quite enough to change it around here. Wuffle is at a huge supply advantage at the moment with over 120 food crater. So GreatWall may be fighting a very, very losing fight. I thought he might have had a little chance at the beginning, but the Fiends actually just overtook him. I mean,
look at what's going down south. We have 4 ER Whack, who is just so many tanks and griffins and casters, and mortar teams? He has everything he could ever want, and he's got it all in excess.
I was gonna say, did you see when
so much resources, and he's just not. He needs more buildings, but if he loses this, I'm gonna be shocked.
You got to think he's gonna be teamed down soon. I mean,
by who? Who can team down this many tanks? I would be afraid. I would be afraid to attack him.
Yep.
Just tank me.
But I mean, Calypso's got a pretty nice army for it. He's got a heavy ground-based army, and even
that's true.
I mean, even Wuffle actually has a very nice counter to tanks right now with the Frostworms and Fiends. I mean, usually the problem with tanks and undead players are you gotta go mass Gargs to keep yourself in it, but in this case, really Wuffle is able to counter it. I mean, also, can we note how many freaking expansions Wuffle has at the moment?
That's a good point. He has got a lot of gold. Wuffle is doing really well in this.
I was gonna say, Wuffle is on top of his game right now. I'm very impressed by how he's playing it, and he's up to 203 already, so he is not wasting any time.
Well, I would say that he could definitely do with some more, like 3 more boneyards, because he's sitting on 3,000 gold right now.
Yeah,
if
I think
have, like multiple units queued up, I think it's a good idea just to and especially in this game, just to make more Raxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no end to production. You need as much production as possible.
StarCraft 2 style almost.
It's very similar to that idea, and we're going to have a huge fight in here. Ludix, terrible TP there. Those tanks are really doing a bunch of damage there. Does manage to finally get off some healing wards and stuff like that, but we've got the 145 versus, or 142 versus 190, actually. So Ludix losing a lot of units here at the moment. However, he does have enough supply. He should be able to overcome it, and that's a huge Blade Storm that's going to go ahead and decimate a lot of the tanks at the moment. Panda looking very low for 4ER. 4ER is going to have to TP out with that Panda. And we could see the Archmage go down. Archmage is just out of there in time.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Ludix, maybe is my... I want to say Ludix is my favorite to win, but at the same time, with that many turns against Wuffle's just unbelievable air army. I've never seen this many Frostworms in my life. I think that might be the strongest composition in the game. With a few hundred, how do you deal with this many frost? Like, what could you? I mean, okay, I can tell you the answer. The answer is flying machines. Flying machines would take it down, but you would need a lot of flying machines. If you had 200 flying machines, you could take that down. But I don't know if he's going to switch to flying machines.
I'm somewhat surprised he didn't originally go flying machines. He is pumping out more Griffins at the moment. He's probably just trying to take down Calypso. But I think flying machines, except for the fact that they would be so incredibly hard to control, I think flying machines probably are the strongest that you can get in this.
They're just so good, and they clump up, and then they just do like 30,000 damage.
Yep, although then if somebody has a Panda, you could see some problems there. But we do have Wuffles. What?
Not really. Because the Panda can only do so much damage. It's limited to the amount of damage a Breath of Fire can do, not the number of units.
That is true.
So the more units you have, it actually
disperses it more.
The effect.
That's fair enough. I'd not thought about that. And we are going to have TP out from Wuffle here, which is surprising because he could easily...
Just taken him out.
Yeah. Was that a fake TP that we just saw out of 4ER?
I don't know what that was.
I thought it must have been a canceled mass TP.
His mind. He said he doesn't want to fight the human.
Oh, who does want to fight the human?
I think Wuffle could just fight anybody. His army. This is scary. This is how many? Can we count how many Frostworms it is? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12.
They just moved. I think he's got around 16 or 17.
56. I count 16. With a shit ton of gargoyles, a bunch of, fiends, and quite a few, 2 or 3 destros.
Oof, nice bats there.
That's scary, and he's not done. He's still at 4K gold. He's making more Frostworms.
Mm-hmm. So Calypso is going to pretty much dominate this fight. It looks like.
Oh my. Oh, unholy frenzied gargs or Frostworms. Oh my, that's coming. That's coming.
That's coming, but it's gonna be Calypso that looks like he has to deal with it at the moment. So I'm confused as to why 4ER is not pumping units right now. He has 6,500 gold, and there's no reason to not be going on all cylinders right now.
Well, he's making mass Griffin Rider mass works, which is not a bad choice against this army that he's seeing. But I don't.
He has a bunch of workshops that could be making flying machines, though.
Yeah, I don't think he realizes how badly he needs flying machines. So, and he might decide not to go flying machines, but I don't think there's any way he can take out Wuffle's army without flying machines. And there's a critical number that you need in order to make it work. Because if you don't have exactly the right number, you'll just lose all of them.
Mm-hmm.
So. But here he's got one flying machine out. Maybe it's for scouting. Maybe it's an indication of what he's going to start doing at some point. I don't know, but I think he definitely needs to get those out.
I am impressed by the fact that J33 is trying to come back here. This may be the hardest game type to get yourself back into it once you're killed. I mean, there's just something to be said for trying to take out a 300 food army while you're at 20 food and mining.
Yeah, well, another thing too is just the idea, right, that he's got 6,000 gold. He's just not doing anything with it right now, as far as I can tell.
I think he's just seeing if he can get to like 20,000. If he can, he'll go ahead and mass a bunch of production buildings, but doesn't want to waste his time otherwise.
I don't know. I guess it's I guess, but I don't know. This is here's one thing too. I guarantee you one thing. If I was red right now, I would be thinking one thing, which is mass flying machines, kill the undead shit. Get level 10, 10, 10 on my heroes, and then I don't know what I would do from there, but that would be my goal. I mean, that's like 20-some Frostworms that we're looking at right now. He's at 296 food, and he's got Necromancers. I think the only thing that can beat that is max flying machines. I don't think there's anything else in the game that could touch it. So I think he's just going to stomp over these dudes.
Wuffle going to go ahead and try and fight Calypso here, so we'll find out how well this army... Whoa! God. Yeah. All of a sudden, I just had like 30 Frostworms come in my screen. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, just look behind him because there's even more. There's so many of them. And he's got 7,000 gold right now, 8,000 gold. He's got this army that he could lose this army and then just build it again. So he's got so much control.
And I'm just trying to look around. So he's got 2, 3, third expansion is being dried. 3, 4, 5 expansions plus his natural still. So Wuffle in good shape here. The only thing I can think of is if we get a 2v1 for them against the Wuffle, yeah.
I think he could win a 2v1 right now, I think.
We may find out. 4ER is in good position to try it. Nope, 4ER are going to continue to the middle, actually. And I'm not even going to try and cast this battle because it's incredible what's going on. But we do have an Inferno dropped on the middle of the army here. Dreadlord looking really low there, actually. Can't see what's going on. Must be hard to micro when you're actually in this situation. Can't imagine that. But Ludix at 202, and Wuffle losing quite a bit of food.
Lost the fight.
Yep, that part is for certain.
What? What?
Just goes to show, I guess, how strong Orc army is.
How did that even... Okay, I know what the problem was. He didn't focus fire with his frost rooms, but... What? Like, all he had to do, right, was focus fire, and I think he would have completely destroyed that. But instead, like, all the frost rooms had almost picked their own target, and so they were splashing a lot and stuff. But, you know, the healing wards and the towers and the spirit link, you have to focus against that, and that's definitely hard to micro, but, what?
Yeah, I don't know. Just something to be pointed out here. Wuffle did manage to grab a peasant here. He's rebuilding an Altar of Kings, so presumably he is trying to tech up to tier 3 and get tanks, maybe? We got a big fight between 4ER and Calypso, and they are both very, very misguided. Calypso realizes it's a good game for him if he gets 2v1'd out here, but 4ER, I think, underestimating the power of Wuffle's army, but then again, maybe he's not. Maybe that army was really just strong in 1v1 with Undead, and we're going to find out that it's actually not that strong against other races. But unfortunately, Calypso is being forced to back up here.
Well, I think 4ER is doing a much better job of focusing, but also Ludix didn't have nearly the kind of position that he needed in that fight, especially compared to the Undead, where he had all his towers raining down, as well as having this nice kind of wall and everything just kind of spread out naturally, which is really good for the Orc army, especially when you have Taurens, of course, which are just kind of AoE and splash the crap out of everything, and there's not really a lot of healing going on for the other people, usually as much compared, you know, to the Witch Doctors and the Spirit Link and stuff. So I definitely think Calypso's in he's in a really bad spot. I can't believe he beat the Wuffle, but I definitely don't think he can beat 4ER.
Yep. I'm somewhat surprised that we don't have any type of devotion aura on the Paladin yet. That seems like something that'd be very, very important in this type of game.
Aura is so strong right now.
And I think, let's see, so Calypso looks like he's done a pretty nice job of picking up auras. He does have a Scourgebone Chimes, and I think he picked up a few other items from the shop in the middle, but I'm surprised that maybe they just haven't spawned, that we haven't seen more items bought off that shop, since when you can affect 300 food army for a $500 or 500 gold item, I mean, that's a pretty good value right there, I think.
Yeah, well, without a doubt. Now, obviously, scrolls and such are really important, but we're not really seeing as many of those as I would expect. I would expect to see protection scroll. I would expect to see, healing scroll on every single hero. Probably two. If I was Wuffle, he's got 17,000 gold. If I was him, I would have, like, just 2 healing scrolls on everything and a protection scroll on something. Mm-hmm. I would have, like, my fiends would have backpack. They would have scrolls, These fights could go on for a while. That's what I would do, I would just keep myself stocked up. 17k is a lot of money, so I don't know.
I think you're correct. I mean, especially with the protection and the healing scrolls, those seem like they'd be very important. And wow, look at those bats come in here. This is going to do quite a bit of damage, I think. Actually, not as much damage as I thought it would do. Apparently, I have no idea what's going on in this game, because I have been like 0 for 18 on these predictions so far.
Well, look, there's all these mortar teams in the back just like raining hell down on the buildings while there's an actual fight going on. One of the things that I'm thinking about in this type of gameplay is that if you are dominating in the early game, and I kind of had that question, would it be worth it to dominate in this type of game? I think it might actually be, because when you have 300 food, you could actually feasibly 1v2 people who are both at 150 or 170, which is the thing that if they're having a lot of fights going on, they may actually well be. And you can even fight those two battles on 2 completely different fronts, because microing them, this is just very crazy. So I think it's feasible. I think positioning is more important than anything else right now in terms of micro. I think we're starting to see a lot like what you would expect in StarCraft, where positioning is like it reigns supreme. I think in here we're definitely looking for positioning to reign supreme. And I think for orcs that's actually a really important thing, because normally, of course, positioning is already like the most important thing for orcs to begin with. And this sort of position, we already saw Calypso hold off quite a bit so far just because of his positioning. So as long as he keeps that up, I think he'll be fine.
This is an interesting idea by 4ER here to try and tower everything up. I'm not really sure if I think it's valuable idea, but it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I think he should just go mass flying machines though.
Yeah, I'd have to agree on that one.
I think that's what he should be doing. I mean, I don't know. I've never seen flying machines at the 300 scale, but I know at the 100 scale they're just amazing. But obviously it's not normally viable. But in this case, you can go 200 flying machines and then still have 100 food to play with. It's like, that is juicy.
He's also sitting at 10k gold and 170 food,
which is nuts.
Yeah.
What you doing for you whack man?
Wuffle and Calypso both seem to get the idea that there's no reason ever to just stop pumping units.
Yeah.
But I think 4ER is having a little bit harder time overcoming that. Wuffle currently building up a tree of life now, so he is trying to get every race, it looks like, which, interesting. I like it. I like the idea. You got to give him props.
I guess he has so much money, he's just like, well, I'll just get all the tech, and then if I ever need it, I have it.
I suspect he may be going for a bear.
Ooh, yeah, you're right. A bear would be absolutely amazing. It would, it would almost be more interesting in this game type if it was like upkeep at 100 and then upkeep at 200, or like 240.
As I said, that would be interesting. And I think if it's popular and continues to be popular, we may have Persuade try out some more experiments with it and see what we can do to alter. I mean, I think the next step may be you can get a 4th or 5th hero as well. Just really bring out some more combinations and see what works, what doesn't, stuff like that. I mean,
that would be insane to try to micro.
You can essentially turn this into an entirely different game when you are able to edit the stuff the way that Persuade does.
Yeah, you can edit just about anything too. The maps are very powerful. You can actually just go into the jazz and like the underlying jazz. You can edit quite a bit of it. It's very, very, very flexible. It's almost as powerful as the StarCraft editor. It's not quite, but it's almost as powerful. A lot of people seem to have this idea that you can only do like the triggers and stuff. I don't know if you ever used World Editor, but you can actually not. You can replace key files and key jazz and stuff and key routines. It's really, really cool. And as a computer scientist, I guess I'm completely fascinated by that. Maybe I'm boring people, so I'll shut up. But it's really cool, guys. I promise.
So Wuffle has gone ahead. I'm guessing he's grabbing staffs for his heroes, which probably not quite as important in this game type as it would be in others, but it is nice that you have a way to save your heroes at least. Unsure why this Death Knight still has the Circlet of Nobility on it. That doesn't seem like it would be that important. I expect you can find some more interesting items. There is a Crown of Kings available at the marketplace if you'd like to go buy that.
He's, dude's got swag. That circlet, he wants to wear the circlet. He's like, I look good in this. Every time he takes a selfie, he's just like, look at my circlet. What's up, guys? Puts it onto what would be the Azeroth equivalent of Facebook? Like, I don't even know.
Lore book? I don't know.
Your lore book? Is that what they would be talking about? If you were in like Azeroth, you wouldn't be talking about lore. You would be talking like what?
You'd be talking about all these people that keep coming and killing you, I think.
War book. Is that what you said? War book?
I was just saying that I think there'd be a lot of people that would be coming and killing you, and that's what you'd be talking about. But we could go with war book. I mean,
did you say lore?
I said lore originally. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Look, I don't know. All I'm saying is that the Death Knight's taking selfies. I don't know where he's putting them. Instagram.
Yes, they have Instagram in Azeroth.
Why not?
It's only in Northrend currently, actually. They've got a server that protects it from getting onto Azeroth.
I mean, that makes sense. Azeroth is kind of, a little ashy after all the wars and fires and like the whole Lordaeron campaign that was waged at one point.
So, did you notice J33 is actually still here? Calypso came back and discovered that he was at one of the mines and said, oh, fuck this. Killed him off, and then he is currently massing hippogriffs in a corner.
Yeah, the hippogriffs are very much in a line, too.
They're very orderly. They actually, you're going to put a rope on them, and they're going to tow Santa's sled next year.
Yeah, there is one missing, though. We clearly could use one that has, like, a red nose, maybe.
And they're out of a line now. That one that came in just screwed it all up.
That guy, back to training. Oh, fucking noobs. Every fucking time.
Apparently we're going with a double line now, so.
What? This isn't Siberia? Guys, what are you doing?
Maybe they're Siberian hippogriffs.
Siberian hippogriffs. You would never expect them, but they get you.
So what do you think about this decision to add in mortar teams? because frankly, of all the units that could have been added from the human army, that was not the top of my list.
It's not a bad idea, really, with this type of army composition, I think, because you got a lot of short-range units, but we'll see.
Oh, here we go. We should have a pretty good fight coming on, and wow, those bats. So many bats and not doing anything. Wuffle has not even noticed he's fighting yet because half his army is faced the wrong way.
But don't worry, those mortar teams are engaging, even if everything else isn't.
Those mortar teams may be the MVPs then, but we got a pretty even fight food-wise right now, and I think we're going to see the Orc army show its dominance right now. Look at all the auras that are on the Orc army at the moment compared to the Undead army. I think that's going to be the game changer right now. Ludix does go in here and gets down most of these mortar teams, so they are going to be short-lived, if vaguely helpful, but Wuffle down to 120, and Big Bad Voodoo goes off, and wow, that could actually be the first time we've seen a truly useful Big Bad Voodoo.
You know, I'm surprised that Ludix won the fight. It doesn't make sense to me.
I think we're underestimating how strong that Orc army is, and we are also not taking into account how much there is on the buff side. However, we do have 4ER coming in to attack Ludix now as well, and that'll be interesting to see if Ludix can hold off twice. He does have more bats coming in, but this is probably going to be the end of Ludix, I think. He being 4ER has a pretty strong army as well, puts up that Scroll of Protection. Can you imagine when we get Scroll of Protection and Devotion Aura? Then that's going to be an insane amount of protection on the tanks, and they probably just will never die.
I mean, those Griffin Riders have 13 armor right now.
Yeah, it seems kind of unfair.
I mean, I mean, what are you gonna do? What can you do? I don't know. It looks to me like right now the human's gonna win.
I think I agree on that note. Calypso put up a very good fight, though. I thought he actually played this very well, and if it wasn't for him getting 2v1 more than everybody else has, I think he'd be in a very good position. I mean, you can see he's already got Trip 10 heroes and got them quite a bit before anybody else got a single level 10 hero. And he's played this pretty well. He's got the idea.
He's not leaving this game, and if 4ER doesn't micro much better than he currently is, he might actually find that he can't win right here. He might have to come back later.
Yeah, I don't think he has the expansions to go ahead and do it, and we have Wuffle going ahead and hitting Ludix as well, which is going to be bad news bears, but hopefully Wuffle can scout a little bit better. He does have mortar teams to go ahead and do that. We got the Archmage just playing Ring Around the Rosie right now, and the Blade Master is going to go ahead and die now, so that's going to be game over for Ludix.
It's not too bad to lose a Blade Master, is it?
Well, he's also lost his main and
pretty bad.
The rest of his army.
It's pretty bad.
But aside from that, no, not too bad at all.
It's like, well, you know, just besides all the negative outcomes.
Besides all that, yeah. And he is being towered down by 4ER at the moment.
Yeah, I think this is, I mean, 4ER with those towers right there, he's just like, I'm putting these up, mother. You're not stopping me. I don't care what you have right there.
Have you heard what these are? These are human towers. They don't die. Ever.
We got level 3 masonry. We got some masons over here. This is insane. I mean, the human, I think, played the worst. I don't mean it as an insult, but just in, like, he's come around, but like he just sat around not doing a whole lot, didn't really use his gold. I think he got a little lucky in the fact that people didn't go for him. I think if people had went for the human, they could have taken him out much earlier on, and now they're suffering the consequences for that.
I agree, and I'm actually not convinced anymore that the human's going to win. He has 800 gold, and I mean, we've got Wuffle essentially playing human with undead heroes now. He's just pumping out tanks, and he's going to go ahead and pump out pretty much everything else, and he's got 20,000 gold. So he may have discovered the key to winning as undead, which is don't be undead.
Well, actually, that's what Yane did, isn't it? You remember when Yane would play FFA?
Yeah.
He went tanks.
I thought he actually did that quite often. Apparently that was not true. He did it once or twice.
What? No, I've seen him do it. I've seen him personally do it more than twice.
I don't know. That was just what I was told.
All of his games, but I've seen him do it several times.
But yes, that was what I thought he was well known for, was his incredible micro and foregoing the dual races.
Maybe he didn't do it very often, but he definitely did it more than twice.
I personally was not watching back then, so I got no idea. I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut on this one.
yeah. I was okay. I could start name dropping people, but I'm not going to.
Go ahead. You can name drop if you want.
It's like random observers that people would be like, "Who's that guy?" Like, it was my friend. Anyway, yeah, no, I completely underestimated Wuffle when I thought the human had it. But no, I was wrong. The human's economy just absolutely abysmal.
Yeah, and this is going to be a very hard base to get into. I'd like to see more. We do have more Nerubians going up, so this can be an awesome combination of Cannon and Nerubian. I think that's going to be very hard to crack.
Well, you know, I feel like the cannon towers are an interesting choice. Cannon towers are great and all, but if I'm not mistaken, if you have a tank or something attacking your towers, won't the cannons just splash and do a bunch of damage to your own buildings?
I'm actually not sure about that.
I don't know. I can't remember.
I just have no idea. Never really thought about it from that angle. And as if we didn't have enough trouble with the 4ER here, Ludix is going to go ahead and just wreck the rest of his economy now.
Yeah. So I guess yellow is a wild card right now, but not much of one. I can't find. I don't know. Chippo is it's an okay combination. I could be proven wrong here, and he's making a just shit ton of chimeras off two roosts right here, but I don't know if it's gonna be that great. Actually, he's not even got enough food to make all those chimeras. He's gonna have to like spam moonwells.
Yep. I think if it was earlier on and you could get your heroes to match, it would be a different choice. I mean, I really think that Chippo with a high-level Priestess of the Moon would be pretty incredible. But that's not something we're going to be able to find out, I think, and he's got to be banking on they all just kill each other, and there's like one building left that he has to go and kill.
He's just like, you guys forgot about me. The great J33! Yeah. I don't know.
Wow, you're making him into a villain, apparently.
Well, what else would you call him? He's sitting in a corner of a map just like biding his time, going...
First, I'm not entirely sure how factual it is that he's going.
No, I have it on good authority that right now he's just doing this over and over,
Oh well, if you have it in good authority, then who am I to question that?
I got great authority on that, so yeah. Yeah.
So let's see. Okay, we do have level 2 devotional. I'm trying to find the heroes here to see how leveled up they are, but it's a little hard.
Heroes, the paladin, look, he's so hard to click. He's level 9. Panda's level 9.
Yep. Okay, so we're gonna have Trip 10 on him soon, and Wuffle actually somehow behind on hero levels now. Not that it's a huge deal breaker since it's still 877, but wouldn't think you'd be saying that early on when he was doing so well. And it does look like we are going to see bears coming out for the roar, so we're going to see a tank Frostworm combination with some necromancers and banshees thrown in for good measure, I guess.
Wuffle could just tank somebody and worm somebody else right now. That is a lot of power to have. I would like to do that one day. Just 30 tanks to you, 30 worms to you. Let's see how you guys handle it.
Then you can just switch them up now. And Wuffle, a little alarmed by this army, actually. As you can say, oh, I see his army now. But Wuffle actually ahead of him food count pretty well. And massively ahead of him in gold count, although he is no longer mining anything. And we do have 2 expansions with a third going up, I believe. No, he has not put the third up. Yes, he is putting a third up. So 4ER could get back into this pretty quickly, depending on everything. And Wuffle complaining that you can only have 12 control groups. I'm not sure that's really something that most people have ever had to worry about in this game.
Yeah. Well, I think what he means, right, is that they each can only have 12 units.
Probably.
Which is definitely a big concern. I don't even know how you would... I don't know how you would properly bind everything.
I think you just create one control group and have everything else follow.
That is probably the wrong way to do it. I don't know, but it's probably not the best. How many is that? It's like 120 units that you can kind of essentially group up. It's gonna be a lot of selection micro.
I'm not sure there's gonna be much micro. I think it's gonna be just a clicking and send.
Again, though, can you imagine 300 flying machines?
No, I don't think you'd actually be able to see anything. There would be no micro because your entire screen would be flying machines.
Right? Is you would have that would be one situation where you'd have everything following 2 or 3 units. They would all clump up, and then the second they unclump, there's just 4 screens worth of fucking flying machines all coming in one tiny little tight clump. The fight commences. You're like, oh, that's only 30 flying machines, and there's oh my god, all I can see is flying machines everywhere. That would be so amazing. That would... all of those frostworms would die. I would make the wager in under 10 seconds.
Yeah, you know what I think would actually be a really good investment for Wuffle right now? Mountain Giants.
Mountain giants.
Because how are you going to micro things to stop attacking the Mountain Giants?
Well, it's not got that great of a range, really. I don't know.
Yeah, but in a 300 food, you can easily get 6 Mountain Giants to finish up his army. I mean, that'd be 42 food, so you'd have to be maybe only 5 or something, but you just put those around and you get stuff to start attacking it. I think that would be a good investment.
It would be good against it would have helped him a lot against the Orc army, definitely.
I was going to say, maybe less so for the human army because it's so tank-based right now.
Yeah.
But, yeah, for the Orc army or for any other army.
I wonder if flying machines would win against a bunch of tanks. If you have that many flying machines. I don't know. Probably not, but maybe.
It would be an interesting experiment, actually.
Because you would have, like, as long as you microed it a little bit, you could just tank those engines would die so fast. But that's a lot of damage coming out from the tanks too, though. So I don't know.
So Wuffle has only left a few units behind here. I'm actually pretty impressed by the fact that he has not left more behind. I know that half my units will be still floating in my base at this point.
Well, that statue is unfortunate. He's got them. The statue is given an order to move, but it's stuck.
So here we go. This is going to be a full 500 food involved in this fight. That's a huge inferno in the middle of all of the casters there, and that is a lot of tanks from everybody. It's just very confusing to see what's going on right now.
Who's tanking who? I don't know.
I was going to say, and with orange and red, it's not like they're very different colors. It does look like 4ER is losing pretty much all of his Griffins to the tanks right now. They are all looking very low. We do not have any scrolls going on. I'm not sure why we don't, but Blizzard doing a good amount of damage there, and I'm surprised nobody's lost a hero yet. That seems somewhat unlikely that this battle's been going on for 30, 40 seconds now, and none of the heroes are looking particularly low. So this may be a prolonged fight. The Frostworms are definitely taking some pretty big damage now. We are at 200 for Wuffle when he TP's out, and 4ER down to 100 food.
Yeah, that was really poor, I think, by 4ER again, where 4ER just suicided all the Griffins, whereas Wuffle just sat there and he kept moving his Frostworms out of the tank range, coming maybe for a volley, maybe not a volley. I don't think he actually attacked very much with those worms, but he kept them alive.
Mm-hmm.
As long as they're alive and your opponent's losing Griffins, then because the tanks just aren't really dying. I mean, the tanks are just
they'll pretty much just never die ever.
Yeah, I mean, and the tanks almost neutralize air, the heavy air anyway.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, that was interesting.
It was a very boring fight. You would think that something like that would be more exciting, but that was like,
well, when you have both your players just using massive amounts of tanks, then what can you really expect?
Yeah.
And Wuffle realizing, oh crap, I had Roar, I could have used that.
That would have been good to have Roar.
Yeah, Calypso pretty much ensuring that we're going to manage to have 4ER lose this one.
Calypso is, Calypso, I don't know. Is Calypso really out of the game?
I think so. There's not enough gold on the map to bring him back, I don't think.
Well, I mean, Wuffle has only got 10k gold left. Only 10k, so...
Hey, he's got a new mine up, though. And, I mean,
Well,
J33 is still mining off 2 mines. J30's up to 120 food now, so he's got more than 4ER.
Wuffle just had such an empire up at the start, like just all over the top of the map, and just he's rebuilding it right now. So,
and I mean that's not even touching upon how hard it can be to get into his base. I mean he's got a castle, a necropolis, a tree of eternity, and we haven't even gone over to the main part of his base. This is just in the expansion area. Just
to kill his base. He's actually massing chimeras right now. Wuffle is.
Mm-hmm.
So, but just to think, the amount of firepower you would have to throw at just all those towers to get them down.
Yeah.
I guess tanks would probably still work, but...
300 food of tanks, you just toss them in the base and say, fuck it, go for it, maybe?
You're just like, alright, well, I can't beat you, but maybe these tanks can. And then J30 going, and because he's like, yes, they'll kill him, and then maybe I can come out of the blue. Literally, if J33 comes out, he's coming out of the blue because his chimeras are all on the blue.
What did we say about puns and you hitting your quota already?
what? Is that even a pun?
Yes, that is. It's a bad one, but it is a pun.
debatable. Look, we got a fight going on. 4 yards Archmage is taking that damage, but he's got 2 TPs.
But they're not going to use them.
But he doesn't want to use them. 4 You're so whack, man.
God damn it, Purebe.
What a game. What a game.
So yeah, can we just crown Wuffle the winner right now?
Why isn't he mining from this fucking gold mine? He's had it for so long with a town hall right there.
Gold is for noobs.
With just no mining going on.
You gotta love the fact that he can be at 300 food and mining fully right now, though. So Wuffle could essentially get himself back up to 18,000.
Yeah, Wuffle's sitting here thinking, he's about to be ready. Again, Wuffle, though, he's gone. I don't know if you noticed this, but my fingers are, doing that evil villain temple thing,
So I've got a question. On the resource screen it says the percentage that you have teched up?
Uh-huh.
Is it possible to go over 100% if you're teching with other races?
I think so.
Right now, Wuffle has 3/3 upgrades on a bunch of different units for different races. So I'm very interested to see his score screen.
I think it's if I remember correctly, it goes over 100. I believe it's been a long time, so I could be totally wrong on that. But I think it does go over 100. We'll see though. We'll see.
Hopefully. All right, J33. So it's gonna be really amusing if Calypso fights us at like 30 food versus 90 food and actually wins somehow.
The tanks aren't really doing a whole lot. I mean, they're killing the 2 wyverns, but
they're trying to. They're not actually killing them.
That's true. They didn't finish it off.
So do you get when you're using a raider to grab and you've got pillage going on? Does that work on tanks or just buildings?
I think it only works on buildings.
That's too bad.
We could find out next time he smacks the tank.
Well, either they're doing 10 gold worth or that's just mining.
No, it would go in like a smaller increment.
But he should go send a few. Well, I guess actually most of the buildings are actually dead at this point. He should just go send raiders to attack J33. I'm sure J33 won't mind.
Oh, no, not at all. I mean, he's only got like 30 chimeras right now. That would kill the raiders instantly. But no, he'd be fine with it, I'm sure.
He's a pacifist, I think.
Yeah.
And here we go. Wuffle coming in with part of his army. There's like a line probably 40 seconds long that's coming in here. And do we have any TPs here for 4ER?
I don't see. I don't think he has any in the actual fight left, does he? They're on the guys that he snapped out, I think.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So Wuffle going ahead and letting Calypso get a little revenge on 4ER by killing off this stuff, and Wuffle's now just going to go roll over everybody.
Well, Chimera Central over here, J33, is sitting at 145 food, so that's quite a few chimeras.
He's halfway to Wuffle. Wuffle probably has more chimeras than J33 does.
Actually, I don't think so. We can count. 2, 4, 2, 6.
Do you need help with this counting?
9.
I know you have trouble with it.
10.
Just remember, you have fingers and toes.
Shit, I've lost. Well, no. It's. Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay. Eventually, you'll pass that 3rd grade math class.
Well, it's what my mom keeps telling me.
And have you come close yet? I mean, does she have
she's
reason
a
to be
teacher,
proud?
So she's rooting for me.
That's pretty bad if even she can't save you, though.
What? No, well, yeah, it's a hard class. We do addition,
subtraction occasionally.
No, that's grade 4. Don't complicate.
Sorry,
matters.
I forgot you were in Kentucky.
Please don't complicate matters. Oh, my brain's already hurting.
Hey, we do have Roar though, which is pretty interesting on Frostworms.
It's not even hitting like every unit.
No.
There's just too many units. The bear's like, look, I can't make all of these guys motivated. There's so many of them guys. I just can't. I'm sorry.
Pretty much saying you only paid me about 200 gold for this job. You're gonna have to increase my rate if you want anything more. This is not a free service that they provide. It is a paid service. And just because their industry has a bad reputation doesn't mean that you should be taking advantage of them.
Yeah, they're bears. They're not buses.
Mm-hmm.
You can write that down.
I'm doing so right now.
Yeah, this is just a crazy. This is a game type that almost seems like if someone does get to the dominating position, that they're probably not going to lose. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, because here's the thing: how even if every other player decided to take out Wuffle right now and just like a 3v1 team, I think Wuffle might be okay.
Yeah, but I think that's partially because it's so late in the game, and Calypso and 4ER have pretty much just suicided each other at this point.
I mean, this is obviously just one game. I don't know, but I have no idea. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing. It's true that Wuffle got completely dominated in that one fight. I have no idea how that happened. I have no idea what was going on. I mean, I know what happened, right? You know, it's hard to micro all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But, my head's just going throb. It's stuck on that subtraction thing. I just don't mention that.
I'm sorry. Just think of multiplication, something so far out there, it can completely take it out of your mind.
I don't even know what that is. What is that?
It's when you have, like, one flying machine.
No.
And then you get 5 more. And then you get 1 times 5. That's 5. That's multiplication. Or when,
There's
better
6
yet,
flying machines. I don't understand.
well, how about this? When you have 1 panda and you use its ultimate, that's times 3, so you get 3 pandas. However, later on we get to learn division.
4 pandas, and you only have 3. I don't understand your maths.
Well, I'm just making up most of it anyway, so. Math is not actually a concrete art. It's kind of subjective.
GG. Look, Calypso left. GG.
And 4ER is going ahead and killing himself, so that's just going to leave G. What can J33 do, and how is he going to be able to survive this?
Well, J33 currently is going. This has been his plan all along. It's not quite perfect. He would have preferred it if Wuffle had a little bit less gold right now.
And a little bit less base. It's hard to go for a base race when there are like 8 points you can TP into.
This is true, but Wuffle is mining, so there's that.
So, yeah, I think J33 has this nicely in hand, and it's probably a good game. Wuffle should just go ahead and lose.
Bow out gracefully, Wuffle.
Exactly. Don't make this go on any longer than it has to.
Already that you're even staying. I like how he's anti-magic shelling everything because he knows it's chimeras. He's like, look, fuck it. I'm just gonna be a dick here. I'm not even gonna do it. Like, just the shit you can hit. I know what's up.
He's also anti-magic shielding his air, which
That doesn't make any sense.
Chimeras, last time I checked. Maybe we can do next version. Chimeras can attack air too.
Maybe next version chimeras can't attack ground.
They just float there and look pretty for 330 gold and 5 food.
Just fuck over those people who haven't read the patch log. You dumb son of a bitches. J33 would be like right now. He would, as soon as the fight's out, he'd be like, "Really, guys? Really, this is exciting me? All right, that's fine."
Oh, you're giving us a lot of good ideas here.
As long as I'm not playing it, I don't. You do whatever you want. Fuck the players, you know.
That was like for April Fool's Day last year. We created new maps for every race because we thought that every race should have something unique for them. And one of them was like a map where there are only 5 trees on it. So Night Elf might have had a bit of an advantage there. One of them was the bases were just like 3 feet apart, so Human could just rush everybody out. And we actually convinced people for a few days that we were going to be including those in the next season of FML.
Guys, we've got a lot of creativity and innovation went into these maps. No, it's not necessarily Night Elf favored because you can, use ghouls to take the trees, and then the Night Elf's out of wood. It's clear. Actually, it's undead favored. What are you talking about? He's got ghouls don't cost wood. It
was like 5 trees per base, and each base was walled in, so it took forever to get out of.
How is it walled in?
With like the stones that you have to attack.
Oh god.
But those just had a lot of hit points to them.
Oh my god. Never mind.
So it's basically how quickly can the Night Elf make chimeras?
How quickly can he make one hippogriff rider? How quickly can he make anything? I mean, so orcs would have peons, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
grunts. They can make lots of grunts.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay.
Well,
yeah.
They can make grunts until they had to stop making burrows. Undead might be the best off out of the non-Night Elf races, because they could just do a bunch of Necropolises and Ghouls.
Yeah, you're right, yeah. Although it wouldn't really matter, because by the time I guess they would break out the air.
So have you noticed that J33 is dominating this fight?
Yeah, he's done a great job.
I think Wuffle is lost.
I think Waffles, yeah. Look, I like how there's chimeras here from J33 and here, and he just doesn't care.
I think that might be because he's realized that he's won the game.
GG! Woo! Congratulations. Let's see, what is the research?
I was going to say, that's going to be the interesting thing.
Oh, no, it's 82.
50
Actually,
for Wuffle. So once Wuffle started teching in another one, it took it away from him, I guess.
Yeah, that's what that does. There you go. Now we know.
So resources mined. Wuffle, 102,000.
That is...
That's a lot of gold.
That's a lot of gold. Gold lost to upkeep. 0. I could have told you that one before.
Could you? So Wuffle had a 304 food army. Calypso the only one to get close to the 300 mark. And everybody else apparently didn't get to take advantage of this wonderful game type. But at least everybody got over 100 and they can feel good about themselves for that one.
Yeah, I mean, the Great Wall, he got to 106. He killed three buildings, which is better than Pinballmap or J33. He didn't quite produce as many buildings as J33, but he did produce one more building than Pinballmap. So I feel like he's edged out over Pinballmap, despite the army discrepancy there.
Yep, and he did get an extra 50,000 score. So.
And he also produced like shit tons more unit, like fucking 3 times, 4 times the amount of units. He's just a fucking badass. Good job, Great Wall.
Alright, so any takeaways from this game before we go ahead and end it?
Yeah. If I think if they were Chinese, I would enjoy their takeaway much more.
You know, I've never had good luck with Chinese takeaway. I actually prefer to just order out for pizza.
What? Oh man, dude, there's a Chinese place. If you ever come to Kentucky,
God knows that's not going to happen.
but if you do, and you actually make it without getting stoned to death for your heresy, there is this great little Chinese place that we can go. It's not the greatest, but it's pretty good and cheap. Oh, and I might go there. I might go there. Oh.
Out of curiosity, do you know what Chinese is? I wasn't entirely sure that had actually reached you in Kentucky.
Well, it's Chinese. It's when it's the noodle place. It's that shop that sells noodles.
Huh, apparently my stream just went down. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's really not good.
Huh. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up so I can put the YouTube version up then.
Right.
Alright, so let's back up. This is Mage.
Oh, alright.
That was Magadansky.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, that's not right.
And there's just Purebe.
Yeah, and if we want to see more of your videos and stuff like that, where can we check you out, Purebe?
YouTube.com/SirPurebe.
Not /Kentucky?
Well, if you go to YouTube.com/Kentucky, then I might be there too. I don't know. I'm working out a deal with them.
Fair enough. Alright, we'll catch you guys later.